Alright, welcome to Bagpipe Master. Today we're going to learn how to play basic scale, show you on the sheet music, show you on the practice chanter, the fingering, and then just talk about some issues that often come up. So let's go ahead and get started. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. Alright, good. Now that you've seen it on the sheet music, let's take a look on the actual practice chanter and demonstrate what it looks like on here. So going up that exact same scale, I want to start out on the low G. The low G, all of the holes should be covered. So there's 4 holes being covered with the right hand, 3 on the left hand, and actually underneath on the left hand there is a place for the A. So that's actually 4 holes for each hand. The low G, you do that by covering all the notes. So make sure every hole is covered. Then you'd move on to the low A by lifting up the pinky on the right hand. And then lift up the ring finger and the pinky for the B. And then to turn it into a C, you lift up your middle finger and drop the pinky. Moving on to D, you lift up your index finger, keeping your ring and middle finger up as well. Then to move on to the E, you actually have to drop all of your fingers except for the pinky, and you lift up the ring finger on your left hand. And you want to make sure you do this at the same time. So if you were playing a D, going to an E, you move it simultaneously. It would go back and forth like that. Then for all the rest of the notes on the left hand, with your right hand you just keep it the same. You would keep the pinky up, and moving on to the F, you simply lift up the middle finger. Moving on to the G, you lift up your index finger, and you're obviously keeping the other fingers up. And then for the A, you drop your ring finger, and underneath you lift off your thumb. So with your left hand, if you're playing the high A, you should have all the fingers off with your left hand except for your ring finger is covering that hole. And the entire time you're doing all these on the left hand for the upper hand, you'll see that the right hand is staying the same with the index, middle, ring covering the holes, and the pinky lifted up. Okay? Alright, let's go ahead and play the scale, doing it on the chanter. Okay, here's the basic scale. Okay, good. We've covered some good ground. We looked at what the bagpipe scale, the basic notes are on the sheet music. I showed you basic scale on the chanter, how to do the fingering. Let's talk about, just in closing on this lesson, some of the issues past students I've noticed or they've brought to my attention. One student asked me the question, when I'm playing the notes, how high do I need to lift my fingers? And I don't think there's an exact measurement that you have to be exactly 1 inch or this or that, but don't lift them up too high, and don't do it too little, like just barely off the hole. Maybe 1 inch, 1.5 inches, somewhere around there is good. If you start lifting them too high, it'll slow down your piping. If you don't do it enough, it'll sound muffled and you won't get that clean break away from the note. Another issue I've noticed, especially people that is their first week or two on the pipes, when they go to play the scale or any note, they get these terrible muffled noises, kind of like this. Maybe squeaks, honks, muffled noises. What that's caused by is you're not covering the holes completely. You want to make sure that all of the holes are covered completely, that there's not a little sliver showing, especially on the left hand. Simple as that, make sure you're covering the holes. Last thing I want to talk about as far as problems or issues I've noticed is when students are first learning the chanter, especially on the scale, when they're playing up the scale and they go from the D on the right lower hand up to the E on the left hand, they'll get these crossing noses from the D to the E that really takes away from the music. It'll sound something like this. Kind of a da and B, little blip in there. You definitely want to avoid that. You want a nice crisp sound from the D up to the E. So it should sound like this. Make sure it's a very crisp sound, because if you're playing it and you don't go simultaneously dropping the three fingers, lifting your pinky and the E at the same time, then you'll get that crossing noise that's definitely an issue. You want to keep that out. So yeah, those are some good ways you can get started with the basic bagpipe scale, and look forward to sharing more lessons. Going to start going through some of the other exercises, and the real intention with this is to build up so we can learn some awesome songs. So look forward to sharing more with you on bagpipemaster.com, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.